because we will have today live with the Plastic Oceans, one of the non-governmental organizations that we want to support with this event. We'll invite Arlette to join with us. She is the voice of Plastic Oceans, an NGO that joined the event Bike4tourism. So welcome, Arlette. Welcome to our live. Hope you are fine.
Yes, I'm good. Thank you.
One of the most important things of Bike4tourism is to promote sustainable and responsible tourism. And for that reason, we decided to associate the event to causes, environmental causes. And one of them that was selected after speaking with a couple of them, it was Plastic Oceans, an NGO that was that started in Malibu and then has a couple of branches. And last year they opened also in Europe. And today we have Arlette with us. She has, I believe, she has a lot to say. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that I'm going to ask her is to present herself, because she was almost born with the bicycle on her foot.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Yeah. So
yes.
I'm
go ahead.
I'm Arlette. I'm operations manager at Plastic Oceans Europe. As Anna said, I'm very familiar with bicycling because I was born in the Netherlands. I'll do a little presentation on Plastic Oceans first, and then I'll share some pictures of the bicycling.
Okay.
Let me see. If I can, I do it like this. You see now the presentation?
1 second, add to the screen, and now we can see. Yes.
So this is the Plastic Oceans, working to end plastic pollution and foster sustainable communities worldwide. That's what we talked about the local communities that we love to work with them. So our purpose is obviously to have a world without plastic pollution. And we are all about embracing the circular economy. So all the plastics, all the materials that are used are being put back into the economy. So in an ideal world, that won't be anyways, but that's very ideally. We talked about the activism, advocacy, education, and science. That are the main 4 pillars of Plastic Oceans. Sorry, a lot of noise.
No problem.
So beach cleanups and campaigns, and also documentaries is a part of the education, and advocacy and science. So we also do research on different different aspects of plastic pollution in our oceans, how it affects our health, for example. That's really interesting stuff. I think we need another chat for that. And then, of course, why it is so important that we care about plastic pollution, because annually 10 million tons of plastics are dumped in our oceans.
It's
that's crazy. Insane. Yeah, it's kind of like unimaginable. So to have kind of an idea, that's like a garbage truck of plastics every minute. So that's a lot. And then a lot of plastics is not being recycled. So less than 9% gets recycled. So that's a really sad number. It differs per country, obviously, but in average 9%. So, and then a couple of like scary numbers. Like humans eat over 40 pounds of plastic in their lifetime. Like microplastics are in our food, or plastics, that leach, or it's just everywhere. So it's a lot more than you might imagine. For example, like 100% of mussels contained microplastics, because they get these microplastics from the ocean, and then we eat the mussels, and then we also eat the microplastics.
Of course, yeah. In reality, all these clams and the mussels, the how do you say, they I believe the word in English is filtrate. They filtrate the water. So it's their job, and at the end we are going to eat. So of course we are going to eat the plastic.
Yeah. So it's not only like what it says here: 1 million marine animals are killed by plastic pollution every year. That's a staggering number, and obviously we want to save our ocean and save the marine life, save our all the animals. But it's not only about that, because we are exposing ourselves to this as well, and it will damage our own health. So so this is Plastic Ocean's impact since 2016. Some numbers: 12 films, over 200,000 kids educated, 100 million people reached via different programs and media, activities in over 90 countries, research projects, beach cleanups. So there's a lot going on all around the world. And we're really excited that now in Europe, we're also going to do a lot more.
Yeah, the movies, I remember, movies is also something very important in your organization.
Yes, because it's such you can reach so many people with it, and it really, because it's so obviously documentaries are visual, and a lot of people they don't dive or snorkel, so it's really hard to imagine that the oceans are so polluted because you don't really see it. So with these documentaries, people become really aware that it's really a huge problem. Like when you walk in the forests, you can see the plastic and people think, oh yeah, it's really bad. But people don't usually like swim around in the middle of the ocean. So
yeah. True.
So
you can reach a lot of people by the movies. That's really good. Yeah.
So then I am very much passionate about sustainable living, about our planet, about pollution and everything. So I was very happy that I was able to start working with them since last year. Plastic Oceans Europe started in January, and I started in April of 2020 during the lockdown. So it was kind of a challenge because we couldn't really organize any events or anything because of all the restrictions. So now in 2021, now that everything seems to be going a bit better, let's hope it will be that way.
Let's hope it keeps. Yeah.
We were planning on doing a lot more events and projects, and get this thing going, because we really want to get the word out, because Plastic Oceans Europe has the same mission and vision as Plastic Oceans International, which is all about trying to reduce plastic pollutions, and not only in our oceans, in all waterways like lakes and rivers, because ultimately all the pollution that's in our rivers ends up in our oceans. So it's very important to also focus on the pollution that's happening more inland. And we work with local communities as well, and we do a lot about education, because the 4 key pillars of Plastic Oceans is education, activism, advocacy, and science. So education is really important, because we believe that without education, people won't have the knowledge, and then they won't see a reason why it's so important to protect our planet, and that everybody can do their own thing, even if it's small. Every change is something, and sometimes people may feel overwhelmed. They think, oh, this problem is so big, it's huge, I'm too small of an element in this system that I can do something. But actually everybody can do something, and then if everybody does a little bit, then everybody together can do a lot.
True. It's true. Small steps, as I used to say. I cannot solve the problem of the world, but I can solve the problem in my daily life.
Yes.
So if everybody does a little bit, it makes a huge change.
Yes.
That's true. And do you see improvements on this area, that people is using less plastic or is reusing it? Do you feel improvements or not?
Yes, because I have been, besides Plastic Oceans, I was already very much involved in trying to get people to see the problems of plastic pollution in my own life. I think people kind of find me a little bit annoying at sometimes, because I'm always like, you cannot use that plastic bag, and you have to use this.
I suffer the same. I suffer the same bullying, let's say.
So I'm happy now that I really see that awareness has really, a lot more people are aware about the problem. It's much better than like 5 years ago. And even you see like more brands are trying to do more, and you see legislation is changing, like single-use plastics bans and plastic bags bans. So people are really not only through the governments that they're trying to improve, well, they have to, but also in social media you see it more, and sustainability is a lot more on the foreground than it was 5 years ago. So I'm really happy with that direction.
But well, I have to tell you that I'm still not happy, and even I'm still not happy even with my daily life. It's like I can give you an example, and I need to be honest on this. I can give you an example. I ordered 2 dresses to be delivered at home. Okay, and the 2 dresses were in plastic. You see, I go to the supermarket and I buy some bread, or not bread, but let's say croissant, and they put me on a plastic, So there's still, like, when you start to pay attention, the amount of plastic on your daily life that we bring home, it's half of my garbage, it's plastic.
Yeah, it's horrible. But
I get crazy with that.
But even if something like that happens, it's a nice thing to point out as well, because I try to do as much as I can, but obviously it's quite impossible in nowadays, if you live in, where we live, to live completely plastic free. So if that happens, if I order something and I get it in like packaging that I'm really unhappy about, I send the company an email and I say, hey, I really like your products, but could you please pay attention to the packaging, because it's really, really not good. And then I try to say, like, there are alternatives like this and that. And then I try to turn it into something that I can then use as an opportunity to make them aware that consumers want something else, and then maybe if a lot of people do it, then they will change it, because ultimately they want their customers also to be happy. So if the customers are not happy about these things like packaging, then they might lose customers over this.
Coming back to Plastic Oceans, I know some of the projects. So it started in Malibu in which year? Remind me. It was on the 2000. It was 10 years ago.
It's a long time ago. That's a good question.
Okay.
Long time ago.
And then they moved to, and then the second branch was Mexico or Canada?
There was Canada there, and there's Mexico and Chile, and then Europe.
And then it was with projects related with the oceans, like removing the plastic from the oceans, or was more this version of plastic oceans education, like more on the education field?
It's everything. Yeah, there's cleanups and educational workshops, programs. In Chile, just like now in Portugal, we are part of the Plastics Pact. So in Chile, they're a little bit further ahead. And the Plastics Pact is a directive of different stakeholders, like corporates and universities and NGOs like Plastic Oceans, and they all work together on a directive with short, medium, and long-term objectives, and it's all about plastic packaging. So trying to make plastic packaging more recyclable, so less different types of plastics in one packaging, because that's obviously really hard to recycle, and then also try to eliminate problematic or plastics that are unnecessary, and in this way try to minimize the plastic packaging in general. So in Chile they are quite far ahead, but in Portugal we just started last year, so it's only in the beginning phase. But I'm really hopeful about it, because because so many parties are in it. So I hope that with this directive, not only the parties that are part of the Plastics Pact will improve their packaging and reduce the plastics, but also other companies that are not in the pact but are inspired to do better as well.
So, and you also have one project that is called something like Rethink and Refill.
Yeah,
something like this, or
we have in Europe we have three main focuses at the moment for projects. This Rethink Refill is about providing fresh, like clean water, free. Right now there's one in Mexico and in the US at schools. So what we do is there are water fountains, so the kids can fill up their reusable water bottles. And at the same time, they also get educational workshops, so they understand why it's better to have a reusable bottle. So we also want to implement that in Europe. We're at the early stages, so we hope it'll go ahead now further in 2021, this year. Then we have Blue Communities, which is also a global initiative. It's Plastic Oceans works together with local NGOs, and the thought behind this is that we have to act locally to have global change, because there are a lot of small local NGOs everywhere who are doing an amazing job, but they don't have the resources usually, like the financial resources. So Plastic Oceans works together with these local NGOs to help them with these resources, but also to give them exposure, so people will know about these NGOs and know about the good work that they're doing. So it will trigger like an effect that ultimately they will get more, attention and more recognition for their work. We have a couple of Blue Communities already going around the world, like in Detroit and in Mexico and India. And now we're also starting in Europe, one in the Balearic Islands, and then during the year also in other places in Europe. And it's all about coastal communities. But again, it's not only sea or ocean coastal, it's also communities on lakes or rivers. Because as I said before, it's really important to focus on those inland waterways as well. So that's the second one. And then the third one is like Blue Schools. It's all about education and workshops for kids in schools for different ages. But also we want to provide workshops at companies. So companies can give their employees a workshop with Plastic Oceans Europe, so everybody can learn about plastic pollution, because it's not only kids that need to know, it's everybody who needs to know.
True. And in
you
fact,
can always learn.
Kids can come with all the information from school, but if they arrive home and they don't have the conditions to do recycling or to avoid plastic, they can say to their parents, but at the end they need the parents to cooperate on that. I'm very curious, and you know that we are more than open to receive you the workshop. from Plastic Oceans in our company, of course. Yes, of course. And do you have at the moment? I know that you, of course, due to COVID, everything is delayed. I totally understand that. But do you have at the moment, just by curiosity, a project in Germany or a project in Netherlands at the moment?
No. So the first Blue community will be in Balearic Islands, Spain, in the Mediterranean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just starting. How many are you in Europe at the moment? I know that you've been very busy and you are a small team yet.
Yes. So the core team is three people, and then we have a couple of volunteers in the UK and in Spain, Germany. So we're trying to expand, but not too fast, because otherwise we just lose track of
a little bit the track. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've been chatting before. Tourism is one of the, I would say, an industry that pollutes a little bit, especially when we are traveling and we don't pay attention to all the consumption we do, how we do, if we affect the local communities or if we help them. So, and I know that you always have a package with you to carry on and to avoid the plastic.
And nowadays you can also not go anywhere without a mask. So I don't use the blue disposable mask, but I have a couple of washable masks. Also for the kids, I have, like, when they get like snotty noses, I just use these instead of tissues, because a lot of people think, tissue is not plastic, but it's still, single use, and you have to cut down trees, and it comes wrapped in plastic. So
yes, really cool ideas.
Fresh. Yeah. Sunscreen for if you go to the beach or on your bicycle, of course.
Yes.
I have this one. It comes in a tin, and I really, really like it. And I have shampoo bar, so you don't have to break it. Also, it's great for travel, because these shampoo bottles, they weigh a lot, and then they leak in your suitcase. And this is really easy. It's light, and you can just bring it anywhere. And and for my makeup, when I wear it, I use these. You can just wash them and use them over and over and over again. So you don't have to you don't have to use the disposable ones. So these are a few. Oh yeah, and when I go to the store, I have these produce bags. So I put my stuff in them.
Oceans, how can people support your NGO? What's the best way to support your NGO?
Well, the best way, of course, is donating. But I understand that not everybody is in a position, like financially, to support us. So other ways is to follow our Instagram, Plastic Oceans Europe, or our Facebook, also Plastic Oceans EU. And
and to be volunteer, for instance, the option of being a volunteer in different countries, is this something that at the moment it makes sense for you? Or it's something that because it's a new branch and because you're just settling now, it's still too soon?
You can always write us on the website, or send us an email at europe@plasticoceans.org. And at the moment, we are not really looking for a lot of volunteers, because, as we said, we're trying to get things going. But you never know. We keep all the volunteers. We keep the details. So if we need someone in a certain place with certain skills, then we're like, hey, remember this person? I was like, yeah. And then so it's always good. You never know.
Okay, so I think that we have already a perspective of the work that Plastic Oceans does.